Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Welcome to another edition of the Sports Shop 27. I'm your host, Jermaine Colter. To my far right, Kevin Johnson, KJ, and today's special guest. He has over 14 touchdowns, over 1,416 yards. He's U.S. Today Player of the Year, high school,
That's right.
1990. Also,
Uh-huh.
Shrine Bowl participant, 1989.
Go
Offensive
ahead.
Player of the Year, 1990. The first
Jermaine know them
ever
stats.
retired jersey from Chapman High School in any sport. All right.
Okay.
Also, he's a Carquest Bowl champion. He's a Grey Cup champion, and he's a former Cleveland Brown,
What?
former Gamecock, Toby Gates. What's
Toby
good, Toby?
Gates,
What's
man.
going on, man?
What's up, Toby?
It's just a pleasure to be here. I can tell you that much. It's always a pleasure when we can talk a little sports and talk about things we've done in the past and enlighten people on the future things that we're trying to do. So it's just a pleasure. I appreciate y'all having me on the show. Looking forward to it.
Hey, man. Hey, we're glad to have you. Let the
No
people
problem.
know where you're from originally and a little bit about your background, Toby.
Originally, I'm from Emmons, South Carolina. Born and raised. I'm that country boy. You know what I'm saying? Born and raised. People don't know it's right outside of Spartanburg County. But I spent all my time, most of my life, and now I'm here in Greer, South Carolina. But all those things in Emmons, that's my roots. That's what taught me everything. To put, all the stuff that instilled in me to go on through life and be a better person. And through the things I wanted to do in life, it was all instilled in me in smaller town in Emmons, South Carolina. And I
Cool,
just want to
man.
thank to help me along the way. When I first started off, basically getting into sports. We didn't have. I didn't have a lot of icons I looked upon. I looked upon some of my friends, you know what I'm saying? Guys that was, in high school doing stuff, the Smith brothers who was doing well. Just looked upon those guys and, just wanted to walk in those stepstones and do those type of things. To be honest with you, I never really thought about playing college football. It was more playing professional football. I guess I thought I was just going to get like some of these basketball players.
Yeah.
Now, I never thought about going to play the college aspect. There's always the pro football, type thing. But, we had some great teachers along the way, through education and things that instilled in me. But first I started with my family. I had a great backbone with my family. Mostly
They
women.
can support, man. Yeah.
That's it. Strong women that, I grew up around. I seen my grandmother and all my aunts, they chopped their own wood. They did stuff. They built fire for us. Make sure that we was warm in the mornings, to those cold winter mornings that we was getting up to. So seeing them do their things and being so independent and things like that, that really instilled something, a backbone in my life about hard work and doing different things like that. So
and good work ethics.
That's right, exactly right. And I say all my aunts do stuff. And my mom especially, sometimes she works 16 hours, 4 and 5 days a week, just to support me and do different things and try to give, me a better lifestyle than she had when she was coming up and do things. So, my family is so important, and it's so important in my life now. Yesterday, we had a big gathering, we got a small knit family, but yesterday we got together, ate some really good food, talked and seeing the smiles on people's faces, and that was just a great day.
Wow, that's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, like I said, but a lot of my friends, and teachers along the way, helped me. My first PE teacher, Mr. Rowland, that's the thing, you first start that elementary stage, you know what I'm saying? And you out there start to learn, and, at least he took the time to us to put, a bat in our hand and learn how to throw a ball and do different things. Since Emmett was so small, this guy, he's legendary in our area. His name was Jim Everhart. And Jim Everhart, through Emmett Mills, they support all the sports that we had, from football, basketball leagues and baseball leagues, and having the parks down there for us to go compete and do different things. But just, the money that they poured into sports, that was, when we was youth, was big, because a lot of us couldn't afford some of this $125, $150, $300 travel teams now, that they have. So, I was just grateful for Emmett Mills and Jim Everhart just taking the time of actually putting things together for us to go out there and compete and actually play the game of football, and just, those coaches that instilled in us different things. So, that was the younger version of getting into, getting at junior high age, what I'm saying? Now you're starting to get up and, and different PE teachers. And Coach Darrell Lewis, he was the one who worked us so hard. Most people say it's probably the best shape I ever been in. He killed us when we were younger, but he knew what that condition was going to do. You know what I'm trying to say? But not only that, hard work and work ethic. He was teaching us stuff that later on in life that you're going to need. So when I went to Cleveland or when I went to Carolina, I had no quit in me because they had instilled that in me and stuff, like in basically junior high school. So, that was a great thing that he had until we got to high school with Doc Davis. Doc Davis is legendary throughout the state for all the stuff that he did, transforming programs, basically going, and he's going to do it his way. He weeded out all the guys, who on board as far as doing what he wanted to do. That wasn't the type of coach he was. He was going to do it his way, but it was going to be the right way. He was really teaching you things that's going to along the way and really teaching you stuff that, you can help others, and do things. So he weeded out a lot of the players in the first 2 years before we got there. They was 0-22. And then his last year, 2 years, yes, while we was there, we went 25-2. So, you see the change.
Okay.
Right? They went 13-1 and they started making appearances, upper state championships and doing different things like that. So then he went to Spartanburg with Steve Davis and them, and they won multiple championships, at Spartanburg High School.
Cool.
So, just those things alone was just so great having somebody, a mentor like that, somebody who's in your life and who really cared about you. It wasn't just about football. He really cared about you, was genuine about the things that he meant, he said to you. I mean, even players in the area, he went and picked them up for practice. Some days, dropped them off at practice. There was things that he did. You know what I'm trying to say? And that was something that I'll never forget. And just with the teammates, just being in high school. I mean, that class was just so knit. One guy in particular, a guy named Anthony Smith on my team, who actually lived 2 doors down. Somebody who I really truly looked up to. He was the first one in our era that got a scholarship who went to Appalachian State. And that really opened up my eyes. Like, hey, man, if he can get a scholarship, then maybe I can get a scholarship.
Get one too. That's right.
Yeah. Before that, I can't name anybody from Chapman that had truly got a scholarship or a Division I scholarship to go play football. So with him being the first one to really do it and being so close to me, that really opened up my eyes. So, and I tell him this all the time. He was Spartanburg Herald Journal Player of the Year back to back. He was nominated for National Player of the Year. Many people don't understand, being nominated for National Player of the Year. So he was an awesome guy, and he did stuff. And I looked up to him doing stuff, and it really just helped prepared me to go to college. Really want to go to college. I think I could go to college. Good thing about it, when you hung around guys like that who were genuine and the books was in line, so it made us be in line. My mama, made sure that my books was in line. So she told me I was going to school regardless, whether it was football or not. You know what I'm trying to say? So she had put me in the right classes and do the right things. So we just took advantage of the stuff that we was in. And like I say, and once from there, it was come down to, where I wanted to go to school. And I tell the story all the time. I grew up a big country fan. All my friends were Gamecock fans. So I was just an agitator, get tired of everybody pulling for the same team. That ain't no fun. You know what I'm saying? So I pulled against them. So in 1979, I actually pulled against them, and started pulling for Clemson. And then, Clemson won the national championship. And then, so I was on them. But I tell people this, again, it comes down at the end, you have to make the best decision for you. And at the time, Pearson, they didn't throw the ball enough, and I played quarterback. And I figured if I had aspirations to go to professional football, it wasn't going to be from running an option, And then you can play receiver. Well, they don't throw the ball enough, Well, then if you play DB, at that time, Princeton was recruiting some of the best DBs in the country, and not have the tech-wise. I just knew it was going to take a couple more years, to move over to defensive back and start learning the position and doing stuff with guys who've been recruited to just do their position. So there's no doubt that I could play there. It was just going to be a little while longer. So at Carolina, I looked at the roster. They had a bunch of juniors playing receiver and a bunch of juniors in the secondary. So I said, well, my odds just look better, going there. And not only that, I was having my daughter was going to be born within the next year. And I wanted to be close to home for 2 reasons, to be close to my family, but also so all my people could come see me play. My mother told me no matter where you go, I'm going to come see you. But I wanted my aunt to come, my grandmother to come. I wanted friends to come. I wanted to be whenever I support. Home, 2 hours away, that I could get back home, when I need to get back home and things like that. So that was great, and I have no regrets for the decision that I made. I had to do it over again, because the friends that I had Met those guys at the Shrine Bowl, a couple of us, you know what I'm saying, on both sides. We played in the Shrine Bowl together. Tony Watkins became one of my rooms, very close friend, you know what I'm saying, of mine, David Turnsteed, who lives in Spartanburg County, who, I ended up used to ride home with each other, you know what I'm saying, basically all the time. So, it was things like that, Kanata Reed played safety for us. So it was some guys that we met in the Shrine Bowl and even against in the Shrine Bowl that came to Carolina, you know what I'm saying, that was real big. So just those memories alone, being away from home, basically for a week, kind of bonding, you know what I'm saying, with other guys and doing things. So that was kind of getting you prepared for the college life that you was going to do. And I bonded well with people. I have to feel I always had a spirit, I'm kind of to myself sometimes, but I got a spirit that I'm uplifting the people. And, you know what I'm trying to say? I'm not sit back and lay back with cocky or nothing like that. But, we all about, we want to win the football game. That's, that's what we did. So, we actually won the game 12-0. It was super, you know what I'm saying? So it was just a great time and a great experience we had, you know what I'm saying, throughout the whole process. And I really can't explain all the stuff about college. Most guys, KJ, so, if you played college, so, it's great.
I got a question for you. You started out playing quarterback, right?
I did.
And that's where, he was a quarterback first. And then tell us about that transition, being an All-American quarterback and then turning into a receiver in college.
Yeah, that's impressive.
Yeah. Well, see, what I had done was I had played like cornerback my sophomore year in high school because, again, my coach wanted to get me on the field. So I only played 1 year defensive back ever. Well, when I went to Carolina, it's kind of strange that in the secondary, 4 or 5 guys got hurt. I mean, one guy broke his arm, you know what I'm saying? Tony Watkins had got a rod stuck through his leg. One guy hurt his shoulder. So it was just kind of strange that 6 DBs get hurt in one season. So truly, my redshirt freshman year, they moved me over there and said they was going to move me back to quarterback because they had already told my mother that they would not move me from quarterback unless I agreed upon being moved. And so when I went there, I'm a team player anyway. So the first year I moved over there just to help the team. When the spring comes, they was like, you did so well. Honestly, we think that you can start, not shooting. Okay. So Coach West and them come to me, Toby, make a play. At the time, I'm 6'1", 190-something pounds playing corner. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of unheard of before, the rich for their time and doing things, So I went over there and, just battled it out really, you know what I'm saying, well. So my first year, my redshirt freshman year, I actually started at corner. And, and that was a big transition going at. But again, it was just through hard work and paying attention to technique. You know what I'm saying? Coach was giving different. And I always had been an athlete, you know what I'm saying? So, and I didn't mind getting up and jamming and doing different things like that. So, when I went there with the next year, a lot of the receivers, Robert Brooks, Eddie Miller, and all those guys had graduated. So they didn't have any depth at receiver. And Coach Hickson had told me because during my redshirt freshman year when I was playing receiver, I was making all these miraculous catches, you know what I'm saying, and playing quarterback, when they did options and throwing the ball and different things. So they said I was the most dynamic playmaker that they could move on that side of the ball. So I was the first one drafted to go over there. And my only regrets with that is they moved me on the first day of practice, instead of telling me during the summer that I was going to be. So now I got to go here. Yeah, with these guys who've been working.
Got to get the footwork and everything together. Yep.
So, but again, I was like, I may not run the best routes, but I can get open. But if you put the ball in my hands, I'm that same playmaker. You know what I'm saying? And so we just trained to that, listen to Coach. He worked on me to find my route techniques and doing different things. And I really didn't have a lot of older guys over that I could lean upon. But I used, like, when Robert Brooks and them, the techniques they were using to beat me in practice and different things that gave me trouble in practice, I just started putting
using
that
in your repertoire.
They did this, and it messed me up. I'm going to mess them up. And so I just like that and, use some teachers. So it's kind of like people, you just never know how somebody's studying you and on the other side of the ball. You know what I'm trying to say? But I'm really studying so I can stop other great receivers I'm going against. You know what I'm saying? With different moves he was doing. And everybody know the career that Robert Brooks ended up having. You know what I'm saying? So,
yes, sir.
So what was one of your favorite routes? What was one of your favorite routes to run?
Post corner, man. I love that smash out of that post
corner.
Yeah, I love to set them up, sell their head, way and make them look and come back out and go to that pylon.
Hey,
that's money.
Hey, that post corner make them DBs look stupid, don't it?
Yeah, that's money.
I got. Go ahead.
Go ahead. Like I said, my favorite route to me, Steve Tannehill, who the most was on that post corner.
Yeah.
Hey,
Nice.
I was going to ask you, out of all the SEC teams you faced during that era, who was the toughest team? I know Tennessee was in that era, Georgia.
Oh,
Alabama.
You had Kentucky, Florida,
some talent, man.
LSU, Alabama.
It was by
y'all had to play every game.
Yeah, by far they were. When we walked on the field, them guys said, "Y'all picked the wrong day." That's what they said. Y'all picked the wrong day to come here. And I was, yeah. But we picked the wrong day. We got beat 45-7. But Not only that, go back and look up through history, that 92 defensive team that they had is one of the greatest defensive teams that's ever been installed in college football. You know what I'm saying? When your defensive tackles, Copeland and Curry, go like number 4, number 6, or 5 in the draft, you're dominating. You got 2 tackles drafted in the first 5 or 6 picks. And Antonio Lamb and them boys shading them all in the secondary. You know what I'm saying? That whole defense got drafted within that year and the next year. So it's kind of hard when all 11 players get drafted on that team to go play professional football.
That says a lot about the program.
That's right. And it wasn't so much about the offensive side, even though they had Sherman Williams and some guys that was in the backfield and they was pretty good on offense. They ended up winning the national championship. But it's just that defensive team that was just so impressive. And then to see how they went to the pros and was still impressive and had, long careers. So that's probably the toughest team that I could say by far, hands down, is the best.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, cool. So talk about playing in the Carcass Bowl and winning that. That was in maybe Jacksonville, Florida?
Yes, it was. We actually played in Miami.
Okay.
Yeah, we actually played the game in Miami, but in Joe Roberts Stadium. That was awesome because South Carolina had never won a bowl game in the history of. So with us going, and that was our first bowl game ever going to in the years that we had been playing, in South Carolina, and just being the captain of that bowl game, and and how we got there. You know what I'm saying? We at the beginning of the season, defense was playing real well, offense was struggling. You know what I'm trying to say? We had a new coach, and Brad Scott had just came. And then our offense started picking up, our defense started, struggling. But we wasn't blaming nobody because our motto was together we will. You know what I'm trying to say? And that was the thing, together we will. And, we stayed in that motto, and we kept pushing forward. And it come down to the last game. Clemson, had the same record that we had. You know what I'm saying? So whoever won was going to get to go to the bowl game. And we actually beat Clemson in Clemson, and won the game and got to go to the bowl. Just getting to go to the Carquest Bowl was amazing because being a captain, of the game, to be going to walk out, be Tony Washington, Brandon Bennett. So, we can say we was captains of the first bowl win ever, at the University of South Carolina. And, I give that all to my team. I helped us get us there a lot through the whole season, with big catches and doing things. But, when you do that, teams start saying, hey, we're going to shut you down. That's what West Virginia said. We're going to shut you down. You're not getting well. And I'm fine with that. I had 1 catch for 1 yard. But technically, it was probably one of the best games I played because I was running routes and doing stuff, being a decoy. They was coming up, and then Marcus Robinson catching bums over top of their head, Money Mix and those guys. So I'm like, hey, I got you. So, that was the thing. I would tell Coach, hey, if I go here, they cover me. I didn't care about catches I had, or nothing the yards. All I want to do was win the football game. So if it took me being a decoy, sometimes they was decoys throughout the season, and that's what I would do, and we did that. And we ended up being the first team to ever win a bowl game at the University of South Carolina.
Congratulations on it being inducted to the Captain Hall of Fame for the Gamecocks in 1995 too, as well. Go ahead, KJ.
Yeah, I just want to know, how was your relationship with your quarterback, man? Like, was it everything good? Like,
it was, man. Me and Steve Tannehill, we was friends off the field too. I'm trying to say, and we were just on the page from the very beginning. He come in and say when he took over, I'm not throwing the ball to the running back. I'm here to throw the ball to receivers and do stuff downfield. And we had connected corner route against Mississippi State, probably on the second play to get about 35 yards. But Steve was just a gutsy player who come in a thing and, hey man, Lion, if you give me some time to block and do certain things, hey, we're gonna get this thing done. You know, he wasn't the fastest guy. He didn't have the strongest arm, but you know, he was wanting to try to win the game. You know what I'm saying? That's what we needed. You know, we wanted everybody to be on the same page that was trying to win the game. That's why the recruiting process, we brought guys in who was younger, who stepped in and played immediately because they feel that void that we was missing. But our quarterback was definitely, you know, he was a leader. He was a little more out flamboyant to some people, but it was just kind of show. You know how you got to sell yourself. But around his teammates, he wasn't quite like that. Not like, oh, I'm the man. I'm the show. He wasn't like that, you know, around us because we knew. I'm like, man, you can't say that with these ragged balls you be throwing. You know what I'm saying? I'm making
throwing them ducks.
Yeah, right. So all good. You know what I'm saying? Even to this day, you know, I still talk to Steve Tannehill when we go back. You know, everybody loves Steve to do stuff. You know, we have his restaurant thing down there, his little bar that we go to and attend sometimes to do things. But we played in the golf tournament together. So Steve's a fun guy to be around.
That's what's up.
All right, I got a question for you. So, were you recruited by Sparky Woods or Brad Scott?
I was recruited by Sparky Woods, and Brad Scott came last year. And you know, I had a great time with Sparky and things that he had. And you know, we had some good philosophies. It's just we couldn't finish. You know, I think there was not just him per se, but some of the coaches that was there. You know how you get a lead on people because we was winning at halftime, basically 10 out of 11 games we were playing at halftime.
Yeah.
So we ended up games because we went from draw to screen, and you know I'm averaging 20-something yards a catch. I'm showing up in the first half, and the second half don't show up because I don't get many attempts or targets. You know what I'm saying, to catch any balls. Mm-hmm. So they went from draws to screens and trying to keep the lead instead of pushing the pedal on it and trying to, you know what I'm saying, increase the lead. And Brad Scott came with a different mentality because he had just came from Florida. You know, they had just won a national championship. So he came in with this wide open approach that we was going to move the ball down the field, do different things. And, you know, he told the guys that we just weren't winning because we wasn't in the best shape, you know. And he said, together we will. And we came in and pushed us hard during the summertime. And, you know, different ideas and different things that we was running that we liked. So, I mean, he was a pretty good coach my last guy that I had to.
All right, cool. So let's talk about getting ready for the NFL, going to the Cleveland Browns. Talk about that transition. How was that feeling? You've won through all the big games. You won the first bowl game with Carolina. You know, Player of the Year coming from your high school. The first jersey retired in your high school. How does that feel to walk into that transition, knowing you're about to walk into your dream in the NFL?
You know, it was great, but I had some nagging injuries. You know, that was the thing. So, you know, it's not like today where you got all these camps and you got all this stuff that you can go to. It's kind of like we was kind of, you know, by ourselves with the training aspect, you know what I'm saying, that we was doing. You know, I had a hip flexor problem, you know, a shoulder problem. So I worked on myself, you know, while I was doing my internship to get better. And the sad thing about it, on the Wednesday before the scouts come in, I was running very well, you know, mostly 4.4s and 4.340s. And I had a slight tear in my glute muscle. I had a slight tear in my glute muscle. So when the scouts come, I couldn't run the 40. That was the biggest question, was how fast was I? You know what I'm saying? Got a 42-inch vertical, about a 10.6, 11-foot broad jump. You know what I'm saying? But I couldn't run for them. So, you know, I was just still amazed that after the process, Cleveland came to see me run 4 times. And the last time I ran, stretched out, ran a 4.840 the first time, ran a 4.4 the first time. The second time, they tell me to run again. You know, I can't. So you know the NFL's combined time. So you're a 4.6 guy. But most of them knew I had 4.4. And so I still got the opportunity, you know what I'm saying, draft day coming. It didn't go as I wanted to, but I still got a free agent deal to go to Cleveland. You know, went to Cleveland, did very well during the training sessions, you know, said we had, got the free agent rookie contract, ended up making it to the very last cut, you know what I'm trying to say. So that was great. Got an opportunity to play on Monday Night Football, you know, which was great.
All right,
you know.
cool.
So got a chance to get in there and play on Monday Night Football, which was great. But again, it just wasn't in my cards, you know, with the injuries and stuff that I had, not enough practice time getting in and doing things like that. So after that, I was cut from there, but I had already been drafted. My rights was already drafted in the CFL by the Baltimore Stallions. So when the Baltimore Stallions drafted my rights, as soon as I left Cleveland, you know, I went there and worked out for them and ran very well, you know, in the 4.3s, came back. And then next week I was back playing in Baltimore. Had to sit down about 2 weeks to learn the system and do different things. But once that, I started playing and played very well, you know what I'm saying, for the first couple of games. And then hurt my ankle in practice. There's again an injury. So once the playoffs started, they used a guy who had got hurt. He came back from injury. They placed me instead of on injured reserve. They just put me on the practice squad. And, with all the injuries I had, doing different things, I knew I wasn't the same player that I was. And some people realize that and some people don't. And I realized I knew I wasn't the same player because I wasn't as physical as I used to be because I got a shoulder. You know what I'm saying? I can't go hit somebody like I want to go do it. Or I got to worry about this knee or my hip flex or my growing or something, tearing or slight tear and stuff I had. So the love for me had went away, and my grandmother had just passed. And, I just knew the time was right for me to walk away from football. You know what I'm saying? And I'm happy about the decision. I don't regret it not once because I think people who didn't give their all and who, didn't do certain things, regret, well, if I had done this, I could have made it to the league. I did everything I was supposed to do to make it. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? It's just, it didn't work out for me. So I am happy with the decision, but at least I had the opportunity to go because the doctors basically said, I'm supposed to fail you, but you couldn't fail me because it's a power that's over you that changed your no to yes. You know what I'm saying? So I do that too, especially when he's getting paid to, with evaluation of athletes and tell me he's supposed to fail me, but you can't. You don't have no choice. This is out of your hands. You know what I'm saying? This is the Almighty Himself who has stepped in, who gave me the opportunity. But it was an opportunity. It wasn't a safe to stay there. Maybe it's just to show you something. You know what I'm saying? For you to come back and do certain things later on in life. So again, I am so happy, as you can see. I have no regrets with nothing I did from either school that I made and the choices that things like that. Everything has been great for me since then. I just thank Him for the opportunity because, as you know, most people don't even get the opportunity to even go and get a create the deal. So I'm just blessed that I had an opportunity.
Cool, man. I see that you were doing some commentating a couple years ago. What was that about?
Oh man, it was really awesome. I had a friend named Jason Patterson. He just called me out of the blue one day and was just like, man,
what's up, Nate?
They have a thing at Walford that they're putting together with the SoCon, about doing some commentating, and they wanted me to get a kind of local guy. He said, I know you've never done commentating before. He said, but I just think you can do it. I just think you know a lot about football. I just see how you just get up here. You're not afraid of the camera. Basically, I've been in front of the camera since I was 6 years old. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not afraid, being in front of the camera, and speak, saying pretty well, know some football. So he just thought about me. And he just called me out of the blue. Like, wow, was kind of floored by it and said, shoot, I'd take it on. So, we did games and it was, a truly amazing defeat. And then he told me that it went so well that if anything ever came up again, that he would call me. Well, the state football championship came up 2 years ago. And he called me, said he had an open spot and wanted me to do it. So I stepped in the booth again, did it. And then this past season, he called me back again. So hopefully it'll be a routine thing that you're going to see hear my voice in December for these state championship games. But I say it's easy working with Jason because the questions that he's asked, just like y'all guys asking all the right questions and don't put me in a bad situation and doing certain things. So when you're talking about football, what was that play? It's easy for me to talk about football. So it's how he bring it in and do things. So Jason Patterson, again, I want to thank you for the opportunity, but it's just great working with somebody when you work with people who's always for you and trying to put you in those situations that are always against
you. Yes, I appreciate you tuning in, Nicole Smith. We thank you for watching.
Thanks so much.
So I got another question for you. Life after football, you commentating. What are some of your favorite hobbies now? You like to fish, grill out. What do you like to do, man?
Yeah, most of my favorite hobbies include that. I still say I'm a two-sport athlete, fishing and golf. I'm still two-sport, fishing and golf. But fishing was my first love, and I love not just fishing. I'm an angler. I go out there, I got a boat and do different things. So I like to bass fish because it's intriguing. You know what I'm saying? You got to really work them and make it's just not throwing it out there. I'm sitting on the bucket or sitting on the boat and just talking and politicking. And I got that rod in my hand consistently because in my mind, I'm like a bass pro. You know what I'm saying? So everything I treat it like a pro. And so I
you got to take it on a trip, man.
Yes, we got to do it, man. So I'm
All right.
So
I got to get my gear together, though, man. You got to tell me what to wear now. I don't want to be out there looking stupid, you know.
I got you. In the last 3 I took up golf. I had my own youth organization, you know what I'm saying? And I talked about that, you know what I'm saying, for a while. But I had my own youth organization, used to hold charity events and doing different things, raising money. So I host golf tournaments, but I never played in them. I just hosted them, you know. And went out there, went to a couple of charity tournaments and had some fun. Then I picked up the clubs a couple of days and started hitting them and started liking it. But what really got me into it, I was playing in a tournament, and there was some referees who had, you know, watched my games and had refereed my games when I was in high school. And I didn't play very well, couldn't play, you know, I just started. And I didn't want them to ever say, well, Toby Case can play football, basketball, baseball, maybe fish, but he can play golf, you know. And that stuck in my head so bad that, you know, I got these clubs and I went out there. And since then, probably every day, you know, I'm out there on the practice range, not playing golf. You know, I'm a practicer first, you know what I'm saying? So most of the time, I'm telling you, I like to practice more than I like to play some days, you know what I'm saying, and do it sometimes. And so I figured, hey, if I put in the time like I did for football, transform into a quarterback, if I put the same time into golf and do different things, then I can be very competitive out there. You know, but my mindset is, hey, who knows? I could be on the, you know, on the senior amateur team. You know what I'm saying? You got to have some goal.
Yeah. Why not?
And so, that's right. So that's my thing. Who knows? You may see me on the senior amateur tour in 10 years. Who knows? You know, where it can go to. But in the meantime, I love having fun because it's about fellowshipping, you know, and doing different things. We just took a group of guys that I met all of them. We put it together. We went to Santee and played, you know, a couple of days up there. And it was like 18 of us that went. The thing was golf and fellowship. And that's what we do, you know, basically golf and fellowship. You know, basically my other spare time, you know, I call myself an Uber driver because my daughter was gymnastics. So, and that's the thing about me. I'm dedicated to family. So I'm a trainer by nature right now. You know, I got my own company, K Sports, and I train athletes, how to make them better than we were. You know,
Congratulations on that, man.
You know, I appreciate it. And but I can't devote all my time to just training because I have a daughter and a son also that's in school right now. And my daughter, she does gymnastics 5 days a week. So a lot of my time is spent traveling, picking her up from school, standing in that long line, taking her over there for 3.5 to 4 hours a day. Because one thing I don't want to do, my parents never did for me, is take away my dreams. You know, so I'm gonna let her run this gymnastics out, and my son with his sports and different things that he's doing. I'm gonna let them run it out as long as we can, as long as we can keep doing what we're doing and maintain the household. You know, trying to say me and my wife are comfortable and our bills can get paid and doing things like that. Then hopefully I will never have to take her dream away from her. At least if something happens, we can say, hey, at least I tried it. I did everything, and my parents were behind me. My family has been behind me. So at least I gave the effort and everything in my life, you know what I'm saying, to go be the best person that Taylor can be and the best person that CJ can be. So that's the thing that I do. So like I said, I'm very family oriented. But in my other spare time, I'm a trainer by nature. You know, and I train athletes in every sport, football, basketball, soccer. What did y'all know? Movement skills are the same. You know what I'm trying to say? You got to have movement skills in every sport. You know, but I do cater to football mostly because that's a sport that, you know, I kind of excelled in. I can't say the most, really excelled in what people know me for. You know, like quarterbacks, running backs. Again, it comes down to movements, things I've learned along the way, things I'm still studying. There's a lot of things out there on the internet, some guys. I don't have to start from scratch, but there's something out there that, you know, like, hey, I kind of like what they did. You know, I can use it and put it in my repertoire to make kids better. And like, so that's what I'm doing basically on a daily basis. I basically train 3 days a week, right? The rest of the days, kind of spending with my daughter. I actually got back into coaching high school football. I'm an offensive coordinator at Dale Man High School.
All right.
He's a coach there. So, again, I'm giving back. You know, a couple of years ago, I had my own youth organization, the Carolina Ravens, that, you know, we did, me and my wife had put together. We did for probably 6-7 years. We put it together for kids who couldn't
Wife
afford,
just tuned in. She said, "Great husband, great granddad."
That's good.
That's right. Yeah, that's a good thing. Just got a grandson, you know what I'm saying, about a year ago, and that's big too, you know what I'm saying? So just seeing him and seeing my oldest daughters, they're doing very well, you know what I'm saying, in school and doing different things and they're working. So I'm just so proud of them. Like I say, I got 4 children, and I'm very proud of everything that they've done. It's not like those teenage girls when they're like, oh, when they get to be teenagers, no, I got a 30-year-old, like, And I'm telling you right now, they are doing. I had no problems with them throughout, their childhood coming up. I'm hoping with the other two I don't have any problems like that. But I'm telling you, it was just great. Like I say, with the Ravens, I see Chris Huff just chiming in. He was one of the guys that came and helped coach and devote their time. And then, basically at the end, it just, our time just ran out for it. Some people got to know when it's time to let go of certain things and when it's time to do it. We just didn't have enough kids at that particular time. So we moved kids to different places, make sure they have a home, and then we just stepped away from it. And just open up other doors that we can do. You know what I'm saying? And that's going to probably be with training. I probably won't be a trainer my entire life, but I want to get into some other things, in life, like in rehab. I want to get into rehab field. Basically, I want to help people walk, and do different things that maybe they didn't think they could do. I want to be able to be there and say, hey, we can work this out, and that's just different things I want to do in my older age in life that I got kind of planned of doing different things. So I got some different avenues I'm looking down the road to, kind of getting into. So I still say I'm a young man, especially mentally, so it's just great. I'm just waiting for, whatever that, idea my Heavenly Father, and that's the direction I'm going.
All right, cool.
Good stuff, man.
Yeah.
Doing big things for the community. That's good, man.
Yeah.
We had somebody who did it for us, so like I said, we got to step up and we got to do it for them, like I say. And I tell people, like, football, you need to be coaching football. First of all, you don't tell me what I need. You know what I'm trying to say? I know when it's time for me to do that. I understand what you're saying because I have been given a gift to do that. You know what I'm saying? But sometimes my gift may be moving some other places. You know what I'm saying? But I've stepped away from football numerous times. I'm back right now. You know what I'm trying to say? I'm at a happy place with, who I'm coaching with. Hopefully we can get our program in the right direction. So, again, anything I do, I'm going to be giving back. Or to the elderly, or to anybody. I'm always going to be a giver of giving back and trying to help somebody become better every single time. So whatever field that I'm put into, I'm trying to excel. And my day is to come in every day and just edify people and uplift people. And there's an encouraging word.
There we go. So who's your top 5 NFL receivers all time, man?
Jerry Rice.
Gotta go. Yeah, Jerry Rice is definitely. I gotta put Randy Moss in there too. When that era we
Randy
came
Moss.
through, he just Michael Irvin, at the time, 88 was the baller.
88.
That's right. Lynn Swan, you know what I'm saying, up there in the Cowboys days that he
Chris
did
Carter.
things. Chris Carter, I can't say my top 5, you know what I'm saying?
Okay, all right.
He was in the era. I'm just trying to.
He was a good route runner though.
Oh, absolutely. I'm not denying that.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to think of somebody that's really impressive that I just wanted to just truly, you know what I'm trying to say?
Oh, okay.
Be like, I think of maybe another one that was just so impressive. And I ain't talking about even following when I was in football. I maybe catch me after football. You know what I'm saying? So, maybe like Drew Pearson too for the Cowboys. He was truly awesome. You know what I'm saying? That's like my younger days trying to be. Yeah, trying to be like on that mimicking end, and then you start getting up into, okay, you know what I'm trying to say, those other guys. So that's probably my top 5 because a lot of them have impressed me since I stopped playing football. You know what I'm saying? The Randy Mosses and those guys coming back and actually watching, you know what I'm saying, what they did. It was like, it's just so impressive. I mean, to watch Larry Fitzgerald is impressive. To watch Steve Smith is
DeAndre Hopkins.
That's right. Those guys, and I actually coached against DeAndre Hopkins, you know what I'm saying? And just so proud of it. But, and right now, I hope, if he just stay healthy and longevity, you're talking about Debo Samuel. That's one of my favorite players right now.
Okay. Yeah.
I had a chance.
He's doing his thing.
Yeah, I had a chance to spend some time with Debo and train him a little bit. J.J. Arcega-Whiteside, another one from the area.
Come on the show, Debo. Come on the show, man.
Yeah. So I got a chance to spend some time with them, not a time, but just because they're from the area and doing so well, and they're just such great guys. You know what I'm saying? And they come from great families and doing positive things for the community. So, I'm putting those guys in there, and I'm just, I'm speaking longevity into, a longer, NFL career for those guys right there, and different things, hoping that they come through healthy and do different things and just, can come back and really set up Spartanburg or wherever they do and be able to help the communities, wherever they're a part of.
All right, got another question for you. What's your favorite song to listen to before a game?
Oh, man, back then.
MC Hammer. Yeah, tell me that.
You know, I'm a type of change, you know, a little bit. You know, at the end it started, Mr. Tupac Shakur had came in there, you know what I'm saying?
Okay. Yeah, you got to go to
Yeah,
Pac, man.
you
You
know
can't
what
go
I'm
wrong
saying?
with that.
Yeah, man. So, you know, it was just some stuff like that. You know, and I'm a fan of music. So, you know, one week I may have something, but the next week I may have to, you know, back then we had the race tape. You know, we had the copy over tape. So I may have to take some songs off and do
Yeah.
stuff before CDs really came out and do different things like that. But, you know, each week, I ain't going to say I had a different hype song each week, but just different songs just came to me. And then even before that, what mellowed me out more that got me into the spirit, I listened to a lot of gospel music. You know, I just listened to, you know, John P. Key was one of my favorite artists. So I listened to him, you know what I'm saying, Marvin Winans and different things
Oh
like
yeah.
that. And
Yeah, there
so
you go.
just get into a different spirit, you know. My coach said, what you listening to? And I let him listen to it. He said, man, can you make me a copy of this? You know what I'm saying? So,
Yeah.
you know, I'm like that yin yang, straddle the fence, off the fence, you know what I'm trying to say? So dress up some days, don't dress up some days, bald head in the wintertime, you know, full hair in the summertime. You know what I'm trying to say? You know, the same, everybody
Yeah.
the same thing. Why would you cut your hair bald during the wintertime? You should do that during the summertime. So that's
It's
why I got you.
backwards.
You know, I'm backwards, but not the crisscross backwards. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, we went way back.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man.
That's
Man,
what's up.
all right. Mildred Case, she says she's following, bro.
Yeah.
I appreciate everybody tuning in tonight, man. It's a great show.
Yeah,
So
it was.
let me ask you another question. When you went to the CFL, you went to Baltimore Ravens. Um, talk about the culture, the CFL versus the NFL, the difference between the two.
It was a big difference, and mostly it's you know, we played at Memorial Stadium before they tore it down. You know, the difference is
The
I mean,
goalposts.
yeah, but facilities was definitely, you know what I'm saying, the key.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Going from Cleveland where you got A1 stuff and A1 trainers and doing stuff, you know, you getting all the gear, you know, that type stuff right there was different. Uh, Now, game day in Baltimore was nice. And I can honestly say that they was, you know, truly great. They had everything laid out for you, you know, all the food and stuff you wanted to eat. Coming back after the games, I mean, you know, being in Canada, especially after the games, and you're a little bit older now. I mean, they had tubs full of beer and different things. You know what I'm trying to say? If you want to entertain in it. So I mean that, and we flew first class as usual, which was absolutely great. You know what I'm saying? And wonderful. Uh, but I would just have to say facilities. You know what I'm trying to say is definitely, you know what I'm saying, a pay of course, but facilities is definitely the thing that was a little bit different with practice facilities, especially like, you know, we practice on the old high school field when okay, you got your own indoor facility. You know, you got multiple fields that you can do different things on. So it definitely was that right there. But when we got a chance to play for the Grey Cup, and, you know, actually playing for the Grey Cup was really wonderful. Going to Saskatchewan, Canada, you know, we
Oh
get
yeah.
out there cold and doing different things. But the setup there was kind of more like a bowl game. You know, they had everything set up. You know, all the other guys was in the limelight, which I love. So that means I could just go free. Didn't have to worry about the interviews. You know what I'm trying to say? I was hurt
Yeah.
anyway, so I mean, I could just roam about freely and do different things. So, and the per diem money that you came was very nice. The bonuses that they got you was stuff, the clothing and the gear. But just that experience up there too, to be like you were actually in a Super Bowl and to see the fans. You know what I'm saying? The different fans that they had that was coming to the game, they really treated like the Super Bowl here in the United States. So that was
Oh,
truly amazing. Like, I can't believe that we're here in the Super Bowl, you know? So it was just truly amazing how much those fans love football there and treating the Grey Cup as truly a Super Bowl. So that was truly an experience truly I will never forget.
y'all played in the snow a lot?
I got there by the end of the season because by the time I got released from the Cleveland Browns, they had already played like 11 games before I even got
Oh.
there.
Oh, okay.
So
Okay.
yeah, so just time and schedule, you know, different things like that. We didn't get to play in the snow. Now, when we got off the plane for the game, it was 4 feet of snow. It was very cold. For that game, I had to go, I mean, 2 or 3 pair of long johns, a pair of shorts, you know, jogging pants, tucked up,
Yeah.
blue. on top, a jacket, the jacket they gave me, thermals, 4 or 5 shirts, hoodies. I mean, it was cold, man. That wind was blowing. I seen a piece of paper just take off the ground and blow in the air like a kite. I mean, it was truly amazing. But the experience, like I say, is just that you can never replace that. It was truly.
Oh man, that's wild. That's good, man. So let the people know where they can follow you on all your social media platforms: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, if you have them.
Okay. Well, I'm on Facebook at Toby Cakes. I'm also on Facebook at Cake Sports. That's my last name, and just put sports together. I'm also on Instagram at Toby Cakes. I'm also on Twitter at PSC Toby. And most of you just type it in Toby, but it's at PSC Toby, on Twitter. Instagram is Toby Cakes. Facebook page is Toby Cakes or Cake Sports. That's basically the thing. And if you just put in if you just Google basically Cake Sports, a lot of the stuff will pop up on the thing like that right there. So I say,
right.
I'm looking forward to followers and different things like this. But it's been an amazing ride. I'm still looking forward, to the end of this roller coaster. It's been going up and down, and like sharing, life experiences with different things. Like go through different things, and I was sharing with these guys. I haven't told anybody, so I'm putting this out here. Maybe it'll help somebody. Just maybe going through something. Less than a month ago, I was diagnosed with being type 1 diabetic. A lot of people don't know that, but I just let them know I'm coming through well. All the prayers and everything that's going through, I'm coming through well. But I never asked the question. My thing I want to tell people is this: I didn't ask why did this happen to me. People don't ask why did it happen to me. Well, I didn't ask why did you get me a scholarship. Why did you let me go to the Cleveland Browns? Why did you let me win this award? Why did you let me be on top of all these accolades? You know what I'm saying? So you ask the question why when things are bad for you. You know what I'm saying? So when things are bad for you, you got to have that faith in it you believe in, and knowing that, during the good times, you got to be the same one that you praise during the bad times. You know what I'm saying? Right. So that's what I want people to know that right there. I may be going through something, but this is not something that's going to set me back, basically at all. It's just going to move me forward. And hopefully through this, I can educate somebody down the road and showing them that they may be going through something, but I'm going through something. And they going through something, that this be right here be something uplifting to be like, hey, man, he looked like this. Well, I was born with it. And for 49 years, I did not know I had it. For 49 years. But it just came now. So it's for a reason why it came now. So I'm going to deal with this just like I had a broken leg. I'm going to deal with this just like, everything that's in my life.
Still on the field. That's right.
To educate people and tell the people it is not the end of the world. And if this can happen to them, that it can happen to me. You know what I'm saying? If it happened to me, it can happen to anybody in this world. And it's not the end of the world. You know what I'm saying? It's just the start of a new beginning. Be able to go help somebody in a different direction. Who knows? I could be a spokesperson for diabetes in the long run. You know what I'm saying? With different things that happen. So I'm going to be able to help somebody because of what I'm going through or what I'm going through right now. And that's why I just want to tell everybody with Facebook right now. Again, I say I want to thank y'all. Like a lot of people didn't know I had this, but I'm telling them live right now on y'all show. Y'all the first one to ever hear it, other than my people. You know what I'm saying? That know that I am type 1 diabetic and I am doing well. I was in the hospital. Most people didn't know that. You can look at me now. You can't tell. I'm happy. I'm smiling. My family is happy and smiling. I'm pushing forward with this, and we're going to learn, as a family and as a thing to keep pushing forward and never step back.
Yes.
You know it, man. Hey, man, prayers to you. Keep fighting. You got the spirit to conquer anything, man. Is there any shout outs, any love you want to send out to any of your family, friends, and fans that truly love you and you sharing your blessings with today?
Well, like I said, all of it, the Cakes, what I'm saying, father, family, my father, Wayne Thomas, my mother, Nelly Cakes, what I'm trying to say, for, what I'm saying, for having me and doing stuff. My beautiful wife, Latrell Cakes, she has been the backbone, what I'm saying, that has done things, my oldest daughter.
Like a good wife.
Yeah, she is. My oldest daughter.
I got one too, man.
Hill, my middle daughter, Toby Tiana Hill, my 2 kids I have here, Toby Cakes Jr. and Taylor Cakes. All my family, you know what I'm saying? I can't mention everybody's name, but they know, you know what I'm saying, I love them. All my friends from Emmons, everybody who has been supportive of me, you know what I'm saying, the whole way, the whole Gamecock Nation, you know what I'm saying? And it don't have to be, you know, just Gamecock Nation, you know what I'm saying? Anybody from the area, whether you a Clemson fan or whoever fan, who has ever supported me, who supports Cake Sports, you know, to all the athletes who has come and trained under me and continue to come, I want to thank y'all for having the belief and the expectations. You know, one thing about Cake Sports, you know, my motto is performance beyond expectations. That's what I plan to give you. I want to continue to give you that in the future, is keep promising performance beyond expectations. Again, I want to thank y'all for having me here and hosting me on this site. I want to shout to y'all, all my teammates that ever crossed my path, all the friends that ever crossed my path, even though I may not see y'all every day, you know, and with this thing, the COVID situation that's going on, I still love y'all. And my guys know we can pick up this phone and just like we just left off. And, you know, say again, so all my friends who I haven't talked to in a while, the love is still here. It's going to stay here. We're just going to keep on bonding. We're going to keep on going. We're going to keep on surviving.
That's right,
All
man.
right, man. Hey,
oh, man.
you guys just tuned in to another edition of SportsShop27. I'm your host, Jermaine Colter. To my far right co-host, Kevin Johnson, KJ. And we'd like to thank special guest, former Gamecock Cleveland Brown and Baltimore Stallion, Toby Cates.
Toby Gates.
All right. Until the next time, wear your mask and be safe, guys. Next time, later. Hey, it's not how you start, but it's how you
finish.
Absolutely. Not how you start, but how you.
All right.
That's right.
Later.